Session 0 is when your group meets to discuss what kind of campaign you're gonna run. There's a lot of videos on this out there, and some of them are very thorough, but here's my take on it. I'll try to be brief so that you can get the dice rolling. Session 0 stuff can be done individually at home, and that's fine, but it can be fun to gather for a Session 0. It saves the DM from having to repeat themselves to 4 or 5 players, and it's a good opportunity for brainstorming and Q&A. If it's going to be fun, useful, and save time, then do a Session 0. If it's just going to be a waste of time, then just dump your players together in a tavern. Now, where to begin? I've got 4 main categories to touch on, but I think a Session 0 comes down to 2 big questions. What kind of characters do you want to play, and what kind of campaign do you want to run? Developing your characters and the campaign go hand in hand, so plan them together. Everyone should be able to voice their opinion, but everybody also has to be flexible. First category, the campaign. Let's start by discussing the type of campaign that you want to run. In your Session 0, you can always bounce back and forth between your character specifics and your campaign generalities. Now, the DM is the boss and may already have plans, and this can be a good thing because it gives players some direction and some constraints, both of which can inspire creativity. Also, the DM is the one doing all the work, no doubt for free, so they should be able to run the type of game that is fun for them and also fits nicely within their skill set. I think a DM needs to feel inspired to provide players with the best game they possibly can, and that inspiration will shine through in every session. In my opinion, the DM needs to establish a certain amount of control over the group so that players don't feel entitled to make these decisions, nor have a game that's perfectly tailored just for them. That being said, a good DM should take ideas and input and inspiration from their players. You need to find a balance between control and tyranny. Session 0 is a great time to establish this and create a set of shared expectations. In my group, as with most, there's more people that want to play than DM. So if someone volunteers to DM, we're usually down for anything at all. If my friend says,
"All right, everyone, we're going to play a campaign in the after. It will be low wealth and hardcore difficulty and no divine magic."
then I'm like,
Yeah, that sounds fun.
On the other hand, if my friend says,
"So I was thinking I would run something maybe on Sundays, and yeah, I don't know. I guess you guys can be a bunch of elves or something."
then I'm like,
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Here's what I think is the most important campaign factor to decide: alignment. Even if your group doesn't strictly use alignment systems in their games, it should be understood what the general alignment of the group is going to be. This, I believe, will establish the biggest set of shared expectations. Would a holy cleric of Pelor really team up with the darkest, most foul, narrow-loving necromancer? Nope. Maybe. If you've got some kind of workaround or you don't take your characters very seriously. In any case, if you really want characters with strongly opposed alignments, be ready to sort through the inevitable conflicts that are going to arise, and keep it friendly. Next is to establish when your campaign is going to be, as in how primitive or modern will it be. In Atlundia, this is easy. You pick one of the 4 eras and everyone will have some preconceived notions about it already. Then you zoom in on a specific year or event and make it your backdrop. Otherwise, you can just say it's going to be high fantasy, steampunk, prehistoric, dark ages, or whatever you want. Now, what about where your campaign is? The geography will probably have a major impact on the campaign, especially in the beginning. Are you out on a frozen tundra, in the middle of a jungle, or floating on the astral sea? Who lives here? What current or historic events happened here? I recommend having a map, even if you have to draw a crappy one. Give your players something to latch onto other than your words. These factors will have a major impact on what kind of characters are available. so make sure your players are content with their character choices before locking in the alignment, time, and place of the campaign. Category 2, Characters. Whether the DM has given you some hard specifics or left things wide open, character creation is one of, if not the most engaging part of the games for many people. That's because your minds are flooded with the possibilities of what you could play, and in your imagination, everything is awesome. You want to perpetuate this excitement for as long as you can while maintaining a set of shared expectations. Playing a fun character should be a top priority, but you have to balance that with the wishes of your group as a whole. Now, what races can we play? What races are predominant in the area? Who's at war or hostile with each other? Who's allied or indifferent? Can I still play a dwarf if I just say I'm a traveler from very far away? Could I play a catfolk, or is that too outlandish? Decide on your base classes. Are you going to try fill in all the gaps and cover all the roles, or throw those concerns to the wind? One of my favorite campaigns was when we all played as barbarians, though the DM was pretty exasperated with our antics and really did try to kill us a few times. Double check with your DM which prestige or subclasses are available. You don't want to build your character towards a certain goal only to later be told no. Maybe everything's wide open, maybe there's some restrictions, maybe your DM even has a curated list of which classes are available. So make sure that you have that discussion in your session 0. Briefly discuss your character's defining features, like their background, their appearance, maybe their beliefs or any particular equipment or feats or skills that they're going to lean into. And then depending on how intensive of a background your DM wants, individually you can further hash that out and then present it back to the group. Now, starting level. Most campaigns start at level 1. Will this one? Or will you pick an effective character level to start at? In 3.5, if I want to play a centaur, that's a 4 hit dice creature with a +2 level adjustment. That's an effective character level of 6. So if I play that, that kind of means that you get to play a level 6 elf wizard, or a level 3 lizard folk druid with 2 racial hit dice and a +1 level adjustment. If you have no idea what I just said, just roll in at level 1. Are your characters going to have any prior relationships, like being siblings or rivals or new guild recruits? Affiliations like this can augment your party, provide role-playing opportunities, and help keep everyone united. Regardless, everyone should ensure that their characters are compelled to work together for this campaign. What are the general perceptions of the races and factions in the setting? Try to understand and roleplay the cultures of your characters. Today's real-world modern sensibilities probably don't exist in your medieval fantasy setting, but that doesn't mean that you can't champion them anyways. Experienced players, try to be the most flexible during Session 0 character creation. You should be able to enjoy and execute a broad range of character concepts, so encourage the newer players to choose their characters first. Remember, it's your job to welcome new players to the table and ensure their moments in the spotlight. New players, keep it simple. Your character doesn't need to be complex to be fun and effective. Category 3, Dynamics. Be mindful of the dynamics that your characters will have with each other. Some of the most engaging D&D I've ever played was through some really tense character conflicts. But be warned, because that kind of thing has a good chance to bring your campaign to a premature end. Often, your group's character dynamics will develop organically, and that's pretty natural, but might not be ideal for everyone. There might be a better way to run things, so it's worth it to discuss it in advance. This, again, is helping to create a set of shared expectations for all the players at the table. Now, here's some examples of character dynamics that your party could adopt. Committee. When a decision must be made, all characters have an equal say in how to proceed. Remember to hear everyone's input and find the best compromise, even if it takes time. Party leader. Tough decisions usually come down to one character willing to take on the responsibility of the role. A good leader listens to everyone's input and puts others in the spotlight. This dynamic expedites decision-making but requires all players to roleplay accordingly. Commander. One character holds authority while the others are subordinates. This is for players that value role-playing more than control. Examples of this dynamic are a brave knight and their hopeful squire, an arrogant hero and their bumbling sidekick, or an evil necromancer and their sniveling lackeys, all of which sound pretty fun to me. Keep things fresh in your group by adjusting your party dynamic and roles. Give the shy person at the table a chance to be party leader, if they want it. Someone, probably the DM, should bring up the matter of table etiquette and mature themes. Do you want to keep it light or engage in some heavy topics? Do you want proper adult behavior, or does your group thrive on crude jokes and swearing? Now, if you already know each other, then you probably know the answer to this already. But if you're looking to make some new friends, then take the time to get to know each other in a cordial way before you say something stupid. And then you can say something stupid. It might be wise for the DM to reach out individually in private to each player and pose these questions. Someone might feel more comfortable sharing something in private rather than with the whole group. Now, either way, the table needs to know, so I'd recommend simply speak up and don't be shy about it. There's nothing wrong with saying, "Hey team, I'm not okay with A, B, C, or XYZ in my games. I hope that's all right." Now is also a good time for each player to share their strengths and weaknesses. I'm pretty good at problem solving, but I just cannot retain all of the rules for combat in my head, no matter how many times you tell me. Sorry. I have a hard time not metagaming. I mean, I've been playing the game for years and I know it inside out, and it's kind of a little annoying when I have to deliberately do the suboptimal thing.
I just love combat, and I like to strategize. But if I have to talk to any NPCs, I'll be stuttering within 6 seconds.
Players should then be more encouraging, understanding, and patient with each other. Experienced players, I'm looking at you again. Help make the table fun so that the new players can stumble over their obstacles and flourish into a D&D veteran like you. Last category, extras. Okay, there's some important stuff in here, like you'd better know which source books are allowed. In my group, if you try to bring in some homebrew nonsense, you'll be dealt with. Which is why I don't like to use the H word for Atlundia. Atlundia is custom stuff. You want a cool idea? Here, make your players go on a quest for the in-game book of the Manual of the Plains, or Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, or the Book of the Damned, or the Genius Guide to Horrifically Overpowered Feats, and so on. Then, allow the players to use that source material in this and subsequent campaigns. Get your house rules sorted out. I don't need to prattle on about that, you know, just do it. Okay, now ask your players what aspects of D&D they like. Do you want a lot of combat? A lot of role-playing or problem-solving? Probably a bit of everything. Discuss the pitfalls and tropes that you'd like to avoid. Now is a chance for everyone to say what kind of game they're hoping for, but also what they're hoping not for.
I'm so sick to death of saving the princess from the evil wizard. My God, could we do something else for once?
Right? And I'm tired of saving a baby from goblin kidnappers in the middle of a big maze or whatever. Goblin King again, anyone? Okay. Oh yeah, I wonder if we'll run into those bartenders, guards, and bandits that all have the same NPC voice.
I'm the bartender. What'll it be? I'm the guard in town. What's going on here? Stop there, adventurers. We're a bunch of bandits. Now give us your GP or your HP.
I would suggest that you don't try to flesh out a full adventure from start to finish that you expect to have. Ultimately, that's an ongoing collaboration between everyone at the table, and plans have a way of going off the rails. Speaking of rails, DMs, do your utmost to not railroad your players. And the further ahead you plan, the more likely you are to railroad them. So try to be flexible and quickly adapt the direction that the campaign is going anytime that you need to. Scheduling will, unfortunately, probably always be a little bit of a problem. Now, a lot of people say that you should all just agree on a day and commit to it. And that's great if that works. There's a problem with that though. If you agree to play every second Thursday and inevitably somebody cancels, well, there goes your special day. And now you're waiting for 4 weeks in between sessions, which for a lot of us nerds is just too long. So I've been playing for 20 years, more if you count high school. And the best way I've found to do scheduling is with online group chats and constant communications. It usually falls to 1 or 2 people to poke and prod the rest of the group, but that's just the way it is. So if a set schedule works for you, that's great, do that. If not, constant communication and just always be chatting with each other about when the next time you're gonna get together is. I'm probably missing some things, but you'll figure it out, and I wanted to keep this kind of brief. In closing, I want to repeat, shared expectations. The whole point of a session 0 is to create a set of shared expectations. How hard you want to slap wrists after that is up to you. Keep it fun and don't be too harsh. Now you just need to pick out some minis. Order them from Hero Forge if it's going to be worth it for you. All right, I hope you feel inspired. We'll see ya.